sex education is just not about sex at all. They are more, they are fondling with their private parts. Personally asked me what is the best time to start talking to your child about all of these topics. It's from 6 months. Abuse even happens to a 6 months old child. You're making the child too curious about sex at an earlier age. Y'all can giggle how much ever y'all want, but tell me what is their name.
They would be feeling very embarrassed.
Yeah. The first thing that they told me is dick. They're trying to implement that what they see on porn into their real life, but will anybody like it?
Every time we say goodbye, they all see that it's a lie. 'Cause we always give it one last try. Yeah, you've watched me break 1,000 times.
Welcome back to my channel. ഇന്ന് സാധാരണക്കാട്ടും ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു എപ്പിസോഡായിരിക്കും ബിക്കോസ് വി ഗോയിങ് ടു ബി സ്പീക്കിംഗ് സംതിങ് വെരി ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഫ്രം മൈ ഡെയിലി ലൈഫ് സ്റ്റൈൽ വ്ളോഗ്സ്. ഐ ഹവ് മെറ്റ് സംബഡി വെരി ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആൻഡ് ഹർ നെയിം ഇസ് പ്രിയങ്ക ജിബിൻ. പുള്ളിക്കാരത്തി എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും തന്നെ ഞാൻ ഇവരെ ഈ ഒരു എപ്പിസോഡിൽ കൊണ്ടുവരാനുള്ള കാരണം ഷീ ഈസ് എ സൈക്കോളജിസ്റ്റ്, ഷീ ഈസ് എ ട്രെയിനർ, ഷീ ഈസ് എ സ്പെഷ്യൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റർ. ആൻഡ് ഞാൻ വാട്ട് എം ഐ ഡൂയിങ് വിത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ പലരും വിചാരിക്കണം, കാരണം ഐ എം ഓൾവേസ് ഇൻ ടു fun stuff, but this is going to be a sensible, beautiful episode. So before I speak more, I'm sure all of you would be eagerly waiting to know who this Priyanka Jibin is. So with all the happiness, I'm going to be welcoming on my show Priyanka Jibin.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, Poojitta.
Thank you.
And such a warm welcome also.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm actually in the Priyanka Day Veet and it's so lovely. We were confused outdoor shoot, indoor shoot. But when we saw your home, we are like, okay, fine, let's do it here.
Thank you so much.
In this special episode, we will discuss about sex education. Sex education is parents and kids sexual discussion comfort level create. So Priyanka, so what would you like to tell us about this particular thing?
Okay, so firstly, why I'm into this. So it's in many fields that I worked in. ഞാൻ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ക്ലിനിക്സിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, സ്കൂളിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ സ്കൂളിൽ നിന്നാണ് വാസ് മൈ ലാസ്റ്റ്. പിന്നെ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഫ്രീലാൻസ് ആയിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ when I resigned from school, most of the concerns that I got was about sexual concerns അതായത് പിള്ളേർക്ക് like they are sitting and watching porn, they are jumping into a lot of pornography sites, പിന്നെ they are more they are fondling with their private parts, they are peeping through the parents bedroom keyholes and all of that. അപ്പോൾ ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് യൂഷ്വലായിട്ട് എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയിരുന്ന കൺസേൺസ്. And this I'm not talking even about teenagers. ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് first, second, third graders ആണ് ഞാൻ ഈ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്.
7, 8, 9 years.
Yes, 7, 8, 9 years. And even in KG ലാണെങ്കിൽ പോലും I did get
little one has come. Hello. Hi. Hi.
Hi. So
and the name
is Jibin,
right?
Yeah, this is Jibin. And
I think you're friends with a couple of my friends actually.
Yeah, I'm sure we would have a lot of comments. Yeah. So ഇവിടെ തന്നെ കൊച്ചി people common friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Hezu?
Hi, and the name?
Hezu, you want to say hi to Poojitta auntie?
She's going to disturb you.
No
Well,
problem.
she's going to take some time, so just
Should
leave
I
her.
take her?
No, it's okay. That's
okay.
perfectly
No,
fine.
it's
Yeah,
okay,
perfectly
fine.
fine. Yeah, Hezu. Hezu, le. Her full name is Hezu?
Hazel.
Hazel.
Hazel
Okay.
Jibin.
Can I see your eye color? Is it hazel? All right, so coming back.
Yeah, so so as I was telling, where did I stop? Dada gift Dada kayilirikkum. Hezu, why don't you go and ask Dada? Gift തരും.
നമുക്കൊക്കെ ഗിഫ്റ്റ്സ് ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്ടം. I'm still like this, ഒരു ഗിഫ്റ്റ് തരോ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്.
Yeah, he will give.
Food കഴിച്ചു
കഴിയുമ്പോൾ you will get your gift.
Bye.
See.
So cute. Excited.
Yeah, so
we're saying for kids basically.
Yeah, it's basically so പിന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ KG ൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന എനിക്കൊരു കേസാണ്. Like
LKG, UKG, I mean that's small.
Yeah, LKG ൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. So they have this nap time.
Yeah.
So in nap time what happened is like one child was told to sleep. I mean the whole class was told to sleep basically. അപ്പോൾ എന്തു പറ്റിയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ കുട്ടി he started undressing himself. So suddenly classroom because they all are going to sleep, so everybody is lying down.
Okay.
So this child started undressing himself. So then they so of course obviously they took the child away and all that, and then they called me. So when they called me, I was like, okay, Mone. So they had the talk and discussion and all that. So cutting the story short, what exactly happened was the child is seeing the parents undress and sleep.
Shit.
Okay, so they're just observing. Okay, so ഞാൻ ഈ കുട്ടിയായിട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചപ്പോൾ this കുട്ടി said, ഇല്ല, my dada always removes his dress and he sleeps. So I was like, so okay, but so he's like, yeah, and we all sleep together. I sleep on the floor, but dada and mama sleeps on the bed. So do you see the class? Like children are observing, though we think that ee prayatile pillerikku oru prashno alla, they are not going to be bothered and all of that, but they are still observing. Like there are a lot of TV shows where the parents get so embarrassed. And those are like really tiny ones. They are not like like really grown ups sitting and talking or saying all that. Pakshe, that's the best part, because they're very small, they'll just blabber things out.
Correct, yeah. But how could the parents do something differently? Because definitely a child.
So now coming back to that, so what I do through these workshops of these sex education for parents is basically grooming parents up. Like engine nammal sex education chela topics alla. See, when the minute you hear sex education, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? It's always sex.
Right.
But the funniest thing is sex education is just not about sex at all. Okay, there are many other contents to it. There is boundaries. They talk about friendship, they talk about parent-child communication. So there are so many things that come on to it. So if you personally ask me what is the best time to start talking to your child about all of these topics, it's from 6 months.
6 months?
6 months, yeah. So you're shocked, right? Like, okay, what exactly are you going to be talking to a 6 months old, and how is the child going to understand? But to be honest, this is one of the major reasons why parents don't literally come. They don't attend the workshop because thinking, ഇത്രയും ചെറിയ പിള്ളേരുടെ അടുത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ഈ സംസാരിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്? നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചാലും ആ കുട്ടിക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ മനസ്സിലാവോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. But the best example to tell you, 6 months ആകുമ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ പിള്ളേർക്ക് സോളിഡ്സ് കൊടുത്ത് തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. അല്ലേ? ഈ 6 months സോളിഡ്സ് കൊടുക്കുന്ന ടൈമാണ് മിക്ക സമയം mothers tend to have such a big issue of feeding the child. Right? But that's when the child's brain is actually processing the answer called as no. Because when the child's tummy gets full, what tends to happen? The child will be like, we'll be sitting and making all sort of expressions, and it's such a big fat battle. Right? ആ കൊച്ചിനെ കൊണ്ടൊന്ന് ഇത്തിരി ഭക്ഷണം കഴിപ്പിക്കാൻ. പക്ഷെ ആ കൊച്ചിന് നല്ലോണം അറിയാം ആ കൊച്ചിന്റെ വയറ് നിറയുന്നത്. സോ ആ കൊച്ചിന് അപ്പോൾ അത് പ്രോസസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. മനസ്സിലായോ? So that's where the idea of consent takes place. So the minute that's where the idea of boundaries take place. So the minute when the child is saying no, you need to stop. See, പക്ഷെ നമ്മളൊക്കെ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് സെക്സ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഈ പ്രായത്തിൽ, പക്ഷെ ഈ പ്രായത്തിൽ കൊച്ചുങ്ങളെ പഠിപ്പിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യം is consent, boundaries. So boundaries as in you don't have to make sure if you're a small child, I don't have to make you sit down and say, Mole, this is what boundary is, Mole, this is what consent is. You don't have to, because they are observing all these things.
Especially baby ki consent, like how you said, about when baby cries to say no, it's a no for the mother, right?
No, it's a no for the child. Because the child doesn't want it.
The child doesn't want it, which means the mother should stop.
Exactly. But how many mothers stop?
Nobody.
Exactly. Because what is the main aim of the mother is, ഈ പ്ലേറ്റിൽ ഉള്ളത് നമ്മളത് മൊത്തം
And that affects the babies, what you say?
Yes, because the child is understanding. See, pillerku, their body intelligence, or it's called a somatic psychology. That's one of the new evolving psychology which is actually developing now, and so many people are trying to actually Instagram look noki kanya, there are these trauma healers.
Yes, I follow
so they actually touch on certain parts of the body where where the trauma has been affected. So when they touch on those areas, they tend to our pain they tend to remember. This is like saying child sexual abuse aayittulla pillerku, they find it very difficult to get into an intercourse.
Right.
After marriage anengilum, they find it so difficult.
Yeah.
You know, because the body remembers it.
Right.
Okay,
Right,
so
yeah.
that's what body intelligence is all about.
Okay.
Okay, so the body knows, the body always tends to keep you safe,
Right.
regardless of whoever and whatever you are.
Right.
Your body always tends to keep you safe.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
പക്ഷേ ആ സമയത്ത് when you're telling now, this example, let's come back to this example, and if you're telling the child, no, some more, little more,
Yeah.
more, and you try feeding it, the child feels, oh, appa ende body parayunnathu sheriyalla. Because who influences the child?
Mother.
The parents or the mother. Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Always ഒരു കുട്ടിയുടെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നത് ആ കുട്ടിയുടെ പേരൻസ് ആണ്.
Correct, right.
Okay, അപ്പോൾ the minute you keep feeding and the child says no, but you are not bothered to listen, you are still keeping, hey, കുറച്ചും കൂടി, you keep doing that. Yes, Apu? Gift തരും, okay?
എന്ത് ഗിഫ്റ്റ് ആണ് ഉള്ളത്? എന്ത് ഗിഫ്റ്റ് ആണെന്ന് അറിയോ? Makeup.
Oh, she loves makeup. Yeah,
So,
please.
upcoming influencer ആണ്. Yeah. So coming back,
Yeah, so you know, so the minute you say a no, I mean, the minute you still keep continuing it, the child understands, okay, so what my body telling me is not right. Like, you know, another example is, ഇതിപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ മിക്കയിടത്തും കാണുന്നതാ ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഈ പാർട്ടീസിലൊക്കെ പോകുമ്പോൾ what tends to happen, everybody comes and they say, oh my god, you're so cute,
right,
you're so
right.
sweet,
You're
and
right.
all that, and they just tend to grab the baby and they go and all. So the child will be like, they'll start crying and all that, but still how many parents support the child? Most of them, they tend to say, hey, this is your uncle, no? Why are you not getting along? You know, this is your auntie, go give auntie a kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, she gave you a chocolate, very bad. You tend to pass on comments like that.
Correct, right.
So upper room, you're still not
Protecting the
child's emotions there.
Right.
Okay, upper room nammal parayunnathu endana? You're saying upper room, you're trying to support the other person.
Correct.
So what does a child feel? So that means what my body telling me is not right.
Right.
Now why is the child behaving like that? Because it's a stranger. The child doesn't know that person. Ipa thanne when Poojitta came and, you know, what did I tell you? I told you, Poojitta, it's fine. She'll take some time.
Right.
Yeah. But once she's comfortable, she herself will come to you.
Right. Correct.
പക്ഷേ ഇവിടെ ഇതൊക്കെ how many parents does it?
Right.
ഇപ്പൊ ചിലപ്പോ maybe this aspect ഒക്കെ കുറച്ച് മാറി തുടങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷെ ഫീഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യത്തിലൊക്കെ how many parents have done it, you know? പക്ഷെ ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ what tends to happen is you are actually shutting down the child's connection with the body. Okay, so this is what you're actually trying to groom the parents on. So alanda sex education, the namalde generation sex education is basically they just talk to you about menstruation, physical changes, or you know, and you know adum maryadikkum polum parnu annattu.
But ipo now your babies, when they've been, like how you rightly mentioned a while back about child abuse, okay, at a very young age they've been, like, you know, I'm sure within the family they've been molested, and they come across, they face many such situations. Appa when they tell the families, like how you rightly said again, very few parents support the child.
Yeah, exactly. Very few parents tend to support the child. There were many children who actually came when, you know, when I did deal with a few abuse cases. There were many who actually came and said, so I said, Mole, why didn't you open up? Like, enda petty? So she was like, Mama, ma'am, njan kore prasham njan paranju. But they said, no ways, your uncle, pinna. നീ നിനക്ക് എന്ത് വേണമെങ്കിലും പറയാന്നുള്ളതായോ? No, your uncle won't do all that. ഇനി അതൊന്നും I just keep quiet. He must have not meant anything like that. You know, so it's that distrust. You know, appo thanne the child cuts off from the parent there.
Correct, right.
Okay, now why? Ipo thanne paranju, this abuse even happens to a 6 months old child.
6 months?
Yeah. But then there were few cases also like that. It was 6 months, and what do they do with the child? Nobody knows.
Correct.
Okay, but
so
it is just that fetish of, you know, that pedophile just getting the arousal by seeing the child. That's it. Okay. So, pakshe, does the abuse wait to know, oh, okay, now this person is like a teenager, appo ini ivarde adutha matram abuse. No, abuse can happen to anybody.
Right?
Yeah. So this is exactly why I tend to tell through my workshop also, parents, to start talking to your child about it.
So why do you think parents are not ready to talk to the child?
Yeah, so that's mainly because, some of the schools that I had approached, what they told me is they tend to be too, like they are spoiling the innocence of the child. That's a myth actually. Okay, you're tending to spoil the innocence of the child. I don't think that is required. You're making the child too curious about sex at an earlier age. But they're not realizing again the fact that sex education is just not about sex. There are many other aspects to it, such as boundaries, as I mentioned, consent, parent-child. They even talk about body image, self-esteem. Okay, so there are so many things to it. So our comprehensive sexuality health education, it is basically, they talk about a hell number of concepts in it, and it is just not about this.
So through your workshop, I'm sure you would have had a lot of workshops. So how has especially
The response been very little, to be very honest. Maximum eniki kittipoyekkundu is oru 15 to 20 parents. That's the max that
whom
I've
you've
got.
been able to convince.
Yeah, who has actually come forward, because see, personally I don't have an Instagram or a Facebook and all of that.
Right.
But there are some parents and who actually want to figure out, okay, idu endana,
Right.
like what is this exactly all about, enna ariyunna korchu avarokkeyana, they have actually come and attended. So it's been a very organic crowd. So there's no like yeah, Amma, I'll give you a gift, okay? But can Amma finish this, and then Amma cannot finish this. Okay, that's
Finish it and gift tero. So by talking to children about talking about sex, if you're going to if a mother or if a parent is speaking to their child about sex, do you think that would stop them or reduce their pornography watching hours?
no.